What's up, Wednesday? Guys, today we're talking about some big news stories of the week and how they all come back to one central idea, which is can we ask questions about important things in the world? And can we be skeptical about certain facts that come out that we later find out might not have been credible? And so the two stories that are most connected to this are Google admitting to Biden administration pressure for them to either basically delete search results for certain topics or demonetize YouTube videos and channels for saying certain things that went against the guidelines apparently at the time, right? And so part of the guidelines were like, oh, well, you can't question the COVID-19 vaccine or say like, hey, it wasn't effective, or about masks, or about like gender ideology or whatever, right? It was all like, well, this is harmful to people. It's disinformation, misinformation, and so you can't say this. And so people were censored, demonetized, deplatformed for saying things that were basic or just simply questioning the idea of like mask effectiveness during COVID or vaccine effectiveness during COVID. And my dad was not someone who was canceled, but someone who does not post on social media because of fear of that, right? People who were like losing their jobs for saying pretty basic things. And he's like, hey, like it's very clear the culture right now, it's not like with my values. And so I'm kind of like scared to speak out because what if I'm the one that gets canceled or deplatformed or like banned, things like that. Um, because the left is saying that like, oh, this Jimmy Kimmel thing where he got paid suspension for 2 days is the most blatant attack on free speech in our country's history. Like they're going to that extreme about a comedian who made who blatantly lied about Charlie Kirk's saying like, oh, this guy, the mega gang's trying to say he's not one of them. And I was like, no, no. And then whenever he got suspended, paid leave for 2 days. The saying it's a great attack. When for years the conservatives were censored on social media platforms like Google and YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, like everywhere basically. The tides changed when Elon Musk bought Twitter, and so it's a large thing like forgot about now. And lefters trying to memory hole it and say like, oh well, this never happened. If anything, right wing voices are more loud like others, right? It's like no, it was not the case. And so there was a time where people who would say, "Oh, I don't think like the COVID vaccine has dangerous side effects, or masks aren't effective against protecting against COVID." These were opinions that were shut down and deemed as harmful or misinformation. Even though initially for COVID, Dr. Anthony Fauci, like the golden boy for all this, was saying like, "Oh yeah, they're probably not effective. We've done studies about it. They're probably not effective." But then the moment Trump said something about it, like, oh yeah, good, they're not effective. He'll like they change their tone instantly. And this has been a theme now for years. And I've heard about target arrangement syndrome. I know this thing where like people just like to oppose what he says, but I didn't really see it become a big thing until it came to the other big story, where people, pregnant women specifically, are literally are taking Tylenol blatantly in high doses just to protest that apparently they said there's a link to autism in children, saying like, oh, we don't take medical advice from people who don't have medical degrees, aka Trump and RFK Jr. And going to a complete extreme to just like as you said. And I watched the original clip of what he said. RFK Jr. was like, hey, we found these 46 peer-reviewed studies where 27 of them had a positive link between Tylenol use during pregnancy and autism in children. And like, we're not saying don't take it, but it's recommended that it's in very low. It's the lowest possible dose, and for the shortest possible amount of time if necessary, right? And people took that and ran and were like, oh my gosh, he says Tylenol does. We have to oppose what he says, right? So let's just do this. And it's been around for a while. Again, it happened the same thing where Trump said like, hey, we should open up the schools. And they're like, no, we have to keep schools closed for months now. Like, even my school in Dallas, we could have started normally, but they decided to wait and keep it online for an extra month. And I think like the COVID era policies where they had to oppose things Trump said were just like not only harmful to me, but probably lots of students who did not benefit from online learning in the slightest, and actually like in their grades worse. I think my math probably went down. I was a huge math guy for a long time, and I think it probably went down because of everything being on the iPads and online, and just not being able to learn as well with that. And as far as like the masks go, we learned they weren't effective. Like they're good when they're protecting, not trying to inhale like wood or different particles or like grass that's having mowing the lawn. That's where it's useful. When it's a microscopic like virus and stuff, no, it's not really useful. And in fact, it can actually hamper like social development. Like for me, I used to talk extremely fast. It's probably not a surprise. And when people can't like read your lips and try to understand you, and actually like it can be like hard for a kid to like go through that and just be like everyone like asks them like, hey, can you repeat that over and over again, and not be able to understand fully because well the mask like you also can't really hear through it. When we had the dust shields and everything, it was really really terrible. And the people who stood out against it were like deemed like yes again like misinformation. They were deplatformed. They censored saying like oh well you can't say that. And so now when they're looking into studies about the link between Tylenol use and autism, the question of like and people are like protesting against this and saying, "Oh no!" Like they're saying these false things. I mean, even Tylenol gave a like quote to like CBS News saying like, "No, like you can't say it's actually dangerous to say Tylenol might be dangerous for pregnant women," when literally in 2017 their logic was, "We actually don't recommend any of our products for pregnant women, and thanks for your concerns." They said that 10 years ago. And so it's not even like their tone was consistent. Their tone changed now, all of a sudden, because RFK like went on a press conference explaining these peer-reviewed studies that were highly qualified. And it's really crazy what's happening in our society. And it's probably I've probably been the most organized about saying this, but I think it's just become a huge problem when we talk about the First Amendment and the freedom of speech. Part of that freedom is being able to ask questions about important things and being able to be skeptical about like, okay, do we know this is really true? Going back to the COVID example, are masks really effective in preventing the spread? Are vaccines effective in preventing the spread? And for multiple answers, people were censored for saying no, and now years later, we're realizing, yeah, they weren't really. And now for this link to Tylenol autism, it's like, no, we don't know for sure that there's a link, but can we at least ask questions about it? Can we at least like look into a possible link? Because when something goes from like 1 in 36, which is already up from the past, to 1 in 31, so that means like again, so my class in 6th grade was 31 people at my elementary school. So that means like, and I wasn't the one with autism, so it's saying like 1 in every like 6th grade homeroom at my elementary school had autism, and I'm very lucky to be on the high end of it, where I could like function and talk and do things normally. But the people who were on the low functioning end of it go through a lot of hardships, and their brain development is just completely like out of whack. And I know this because my aunt and uncle actually work with young kids with autism and Down syndrome and cerebral palsy, different brain development disorders that hamper this child's ability to do basic things and to talk and all these things, right? And so with with these news stories, they're not necessarily new, but important, and the people are saying, well, no, like this didn't happen, or you can't question this. It's really important to just like continue to raise the issues and questions of like how are we going to best come to the truth on this, and not censor and say that everyone who has different opinions is untrue, right? Like when we come to an actual fact, and you say like, okay, this is a fact, then it's okay to say it's untrue. But when we're still working through the works of this, I'm like, okay, is this actually a thing? Is this not? We can't just go out saying misinformation, disinformation, expecting people to not like speak out for what they believe. So that's my video today. Wasn't very organized. I get But yeah, what's my idea is like we need to be able to ask questions about important things, especially when it pertains to when it pertains to our health, and not be told that our question, our skepticism, or our opinion is wrong and harmful. So thanks, guys, for joining for What's Up Wednesday. Hope to see you back here next week. Peace.